Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, August 18th, 5:06 p.m. We'll look at the latest SARS-2 news. So what's been going on? Let's find out. Arizona School District cancels classes after several dozen teachers call out sick over SARS-2 concerns. All classes, including virtual learning, will be canceled, he said. Indonesia will keep its doors closed to tourists until a coronavirus vaccine is found and immunity can be provided, a government official said Saturday, as the country continued to conduct clinical testing for a vaccine. The first Mediterranean cruise set sail after SARS-2 test. Rome. Cruise ships passengers had their temperatures checked and took SARS-2 tests Sunday so they could set sail and was being billed as the first Mediterranean cruise after Italy's pandemic lockdown. That's not good. Public smoking ban in parts of Spain as it spreads SARS-2. Texas. Dallas County reported more than 5,000 new SARS-2 cases on Sunday, saying a backlog of thousands of cases were received Saturday because of coding errors in the state's reporting system. Spain. Hundreds gathered in Madrid for anti-mask protest. Crowds of protesters gathered in the Spanish capital on Sunday to voice their opposition to the mandatory use of face masks and other measures imposed to contain the spread of SARS-2. U.S. Republican Louis Gohmert recovers from SARS-2 and he credits hydrochloroquine. Now, if you want to know more about hydrochloroquine, I've talked about it a lot here in this channel. Check out Peak Prosperity, the video that he just released an hour ago. Chris really dives deep into hydrochloroquine and all that. That it does work. And there's a conspiracy of fraud studies to keep it from being used, partly because it doesn't make money, and now it's like I think in certain parts of the world you can get fined for taking it. So there's a huge cover-up going on with hydrochloroquine. More. SARS-2 kills unusually large number of mink in 2 farms in Utah, USDA officials say. They had the virus that causes COVID-19 in humans, officials said. These are the first confirmed cases of SARS-2 in mink in the U.S., the United States Department of Agriculture said Monday. The affected farms are also reported positive cases of SARS-2 in the people who had contact with the mink, the USDA said in a news release. India, of the 140 patients tested for SARS-2, 36 patients tested positive on Monday at the Institute of Mental Health at Aragada. Oscar Chavez, one of the most well-known protest singers in Mexico, died of SARS-2. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill abruptly decided it will no longer hold in-person classes on campus after about 130 students tested positive for SARS-2 on the first week since classes began. The Los Angeles Unified School District announced plans for periodic SARS-2 testing of students and employees to research the coronavirus and determine whether school reopenings are safe. More than 70 people have tested positive for SARS-2 at a desert factory in Nottinghamshire, Bakkavor. Bakkavor? I think this is German, possibly. Oh no, this is in the UK. Bakkavor, which describes itself as the leading provider of fresh prepared food in the UK, will now test every factory employee. More recent news. Trump supporter dies of SARS-2. Daughter says at DNC his only pre-existing condition was trusting Donald Trump. He had faith in Donald Trump. He voted for him, listened to him, believed him in his mouthpieces when they said coronavirus was under control and going to disappear, that it was okay to end social distancing rules before it was safe. She said in a less than 3-minute speech filled with anger and emotion. Mark spent days on a ventilator and died less than 3 weeks after contracting the virus. He died alone in the ICU with a nurse holding his hand, Urquiza said. California. While more people are staying home during the pandemic, a record number of car thefts are being reported in parts of the Los Angeles area. The first 3 months of 2020 saw similar numbers of car thefts compared to the same period in 2019. But from April to July, when SARS-2 closures were at their peak, there were significant increases in car thefts. Edelstein. 10 to 11% of all Israelis have tested for SARS-2 positive. Let me word that differently. 11% of all Israelis who have been tested for SARS-2 came out positive. President Donald Trump's top coronavirus advisor said friends and families holding parties are driving the virus spread in the community, issuing the warning as outbreaks at some colleges around the country are being tied to large gatherings. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Parties, college parties, frat parties, it's not a surprise. More than 24 Maine residents have tested positive for SARS-2 after a wedding reception in Millinocket. the state's first outbreak linked to a social gathering, officials said Monday. Millinocket Regional Hospital has confirmed that there are now 28 positive cases linked to the event, and that number is expected to go up as testing continues. More. New York. A longtime public health advisor to Mayor Bill de Blasio warned Tuesday that sending kids back to school in the fall could accelerate a second wave of the coronavirus, as City Hall tries to manage the Herculean task of partially reopening schools come September. Schools are reopening, then quickly closing due to SARS-2 outbreaks. A Kansas high school teacher created what is believed to be the first national database tracking the effects of SARS-2 in K-12 schools, which has now chronicled the spread of the virus at more than 700 schools. If it's this bad now, just imagine when all the schools open up. Just imagine how bad it's going to be. The 2020 U.S. Open Cup has officially been canceled due to the SARS-2 pandemic, the U.S. Soccer Federation announced on Monday. SARS-2 cases in the U.S. nursing homes jumped nearly 80% earlier this summer, driven by the disease's rampant spread across the South and much of the West, according to a new industry report. According to the latest report from the Multimedia Catholic Center, 81 priests and religious have died in Mexico after contracting the COVID-19 coronavirus since March. Italy, Europe's first SARS-2 epicenter, sees new cases double in 3 weeks. In the meantime, they're sailing cruise ships. Germany recorded the highest number of new SARS-2 cases in nearly 4 months, and the infection rate held above the key threshold of 1.0. There were 1,693 new infections in the 24 hours through Tuesday, August 18th morning, the most since April 25th. America's alt-right is fueling Europe's anti-mask protests. Europeans are sharing SARS-2 conspiracy theories and photos of U.S. protests on Telegram, where they plan their own demonstrations. So this is a lot of the latest news that's happening lately. Europe is going through a second wave. Now, there are people who try to predict what's going to happen. I mean, even Peak Prosperity tries to talk about herd immunity and the XYZ theory. And I don't really... The only person that I trust talking about models of what's going to happen in the future is Dr. Eva Lee, because everything she predicted way back in April came true. She predicted the second wave in Europe, and I have been keeping in touch with her, and she is going to be sending me some reports that I'm going to share here. Yeah, she's a key figure in this entire pandemic theatrical drama. Anyway, that's what's been going on lately. It's the most recent news I can find, and I guess I'll see you next time. Be sure to share this video if you can to people who want to know more about SARS-2. Ask a question if you like, and I'll say, yeah, that's all I got for now.